Cesar Delgado from Back Roads of Illinois. I am joining with Brian, basting from Advanced Trading in Bloomington, Illinois. Welcome to the show. How are you, Brian?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Let's start with our conversation on Brazilian production in poor quality in Paraná and Mato Grosso, Brazil. Could you explain to our listeners about these issues in Brazil?
The growing season has not been perfect this year, Caesar, and in parts of Brazil, especially the states you highlighted a moment ago. The crop was dry for quite some time. Then it had a little bit too much rain, so there are some quality issues being reported. It's not as good a crop as last year. However, I'd emphasize to your viewers that although the crop size is going to be smaller than last year, it's still going to be the second largest crop ever. So I think that obviously the market has been quite weak here in the soybean futures market. I think we're still going to have quite a bit of competition in the export market from those Brazilian beans as we move into the second half of March, for example, and especially moving into the spring months of April and May. I think those beans will work their way into the world pipeline. Again, not as big as last year, but still a large crop that will displace U.S. The yields, harvest is about two-thirds done, about 65 to 70% done. So they are beginning to wind down the harvest in Mato Grosso.
Brian, how do you see impacting the soybean production in Parna?
In Paraná, it has been a similar type situation, Caesar. We've seen a little bit of a late season rebound in precipitation in rainfall in that state. Paraná is historically the second largest producing state of soybeans in Brazil, second to Mato Grosso. Um, I think that the crop is going to be smaller again than last year. Um, they're just getting into harvest in Paraná, for example. They've not harvested as many beans as they have in Mato Grosso. Mato Grosso, the harvest as we speak here was around 65% done. In Paraná, it's about 30 to 35% done. So we don't know quite as much in Paraná yet, but I think it will be smaller than last year. But again, I'd emphasize to your viewers, it's not a catastrophic situation in terms of a much smaller crop.
What is your sources for this situation in Argentina? It is pretty good than Brazil.
We do have sources in both countries at this point. Caesar, more sources in Brazil that we consult with and visit with on a regular basis to get our feedback in terms of how our estimates compare with USDA estimates, for example. We don't have as many contacts in Argentina, but we do have access to consultants who have contacts in both countries. So I'd say that our consultant is the best contact we have in Argentina at this point, and it hasn't been a perfect end to the growing season in Argentina. Those beans are not being harvested yet. They'll start to harvest in Argentina toward the end of March, and more particular in the month of April and May. But our consultant is saying that the Argentina crop is still going to be much larger than last year. I'd remind your viewers, Caesar, that last year Argentina did have a catastrophic drought that cut their crop in half. So we're thinking it's going to be much more close to normal this year.
Do you have any final thoughts on Brazilian production?
I think the Brazilian production number from the USDA's estimate it will be smaller. As I recall, the USDA came out here earlier this month and had production still well over 150 million bushel, 150 million tons, I beg your pardon.
Hmm.
And in fact, it was 100 and as I look at my slide here, 156. My final thoughts would be I think it's going to be smaller than that. How much smaller is a story that's still being written because I think in the far south, For example, in the far southern state of Rio Grande do Sul, they do not have any harvest yet. In fact, those beans are still setting pods and filling pods. So, my final thought would be it is going to be smaller than the USDA. But I'd remind your viewers that it's not a catastrophic crop loss. It's just going to be less than what it was last year when it was a near ideal crop.
Thanks for coming. My pleasure that you joined the show for today. Thanks.
Thank you for
You're
the opportunity.
welcome to join the show anytime.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'd be happy to join again whenever it works out best for your schedule.
This is Brian, basting from Advanced Trading in Bloomington, Illinois, from back roads of Illinois. I am